Just before we get into this video, guys, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, the links are here. And if you also want to support me on Patreon as well and help out my channel, that would be absolutely awesome as well. But let's get on with the video. Hey guys, Wingy here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Why You Should Watch, the series where I talk about something and why you should watch it if you haven't already. But if you have, then I've already succeeded before I've even fucking started. Mind games. It's amazing. Let's just get on with it. So today we are talking about Torchwood. Now the main reason for this is because one, Captain Jack has obviously just returned to Doctor Who, apparently, so there's that. And also because I've actually been thinking about Torchwood recently and I want to start rewatching it again. So I thought, fuck it, let's talk about it. And I know when I did my previous Torchwood video, which I think is the only one that I've done on Torchwood, you guys wanted me to talk about it more. So here we go. And also I know quite a few people who haven't actually watched it, or at least all the way through, so hopefully they'll be watching this and they'll be like, yeah, maybe I should. For those who don't know, Torchwood is a Doctor Who spin-off that began in 2006. It stars John Barrowman returning as Captain Jack Harkness and also Eve Miles as Gwen Cooper. There's also other members as well, but they're sort of the main two, pretty much. They're the only two that are in every single series. Torchwood was a bit out of the blue from what I remember. I remember seeing the Radio Times where it had John Barrowman and the rest of the Torchwood team outside of the place in Cardiff, whatever it's called. I don't know. I need to go though, actually. I've never been Cardiff. But anyway, I remember seeing that and I was just like, whoa, okay, Captain Jack's back, which was weird because Captain Jack was a character who had only appeared in 5 episodes of Doctor Who, and yet suddenly they were making a spin-off. But then again, he was a physical character who had actually appeared in Doctor Who and not just some building. So if anything, Torchwood was more qualified to happen than fucking Glass. Torchwood is also the name of an institute that was brought up in Doctor Who. Well, series 1 it started, but mainly in series 2 it was the main focus. It's sort of like a evil unit in that series of Doctor Who, but obviously with Captain Jack as the leader of this new version of Torchwood, what would that entail? And it's basically, I don't know how to describe it, it's definitely not like Doctor Who, it's sort of like a crime, drama, thriller type thing, but with aliens. I suppose that's the only way I can really describe it, and it is obviously more teen or more adult than Doctor Who ever could be, or should be. I think the frustrating thing with Torchwood is that right from the get-go they try and prove that though. There's a couple of episodes where it's just sort of like, we get it, you're a bit adult, you're a bit edgy, you've got a bit more blood, bit more, you know, action than Doctor Who. Basically what I'm saying is we don't need aliens that try to fuck everyone. I imagine the guy who wrote that sex alien episode probably isn't doing too much now. He's what? The great thing about Torchwood, in my opinion as well, is that it never really lost its quality. I mean, some people will argue saying that Miracle Day was a step down, but I mean, Children of Earth is arguably the best thing that has ever happened in the Doctor Who universe post 2005. So how are you going to top that? But I really did actually like Miracle Day, like a lot. Not as much as Children of Earth, of course, but it's still up there. I think what really makes this show is Captain Jack, and throughout this entire series you learn more about him as a character and you see how he's evolved, you know. And it's weird seeing the dynamic, but I actually quite appreciate it because in Doctor Who, even when he goes back after Torchwood, you know, like in series 3 and 4, he's still the Captain Jack from series 1 because he's the sort of side character, the one that will listen to the Doctor and take orders, whereas in Torchwood, he's the head guy, he's the guy giving the orders, and that's quite interesting to see Jack in a new role. I love his relationships with all of the Torchwood team as well. They naturally grow over the course of the series. Him and Gwen are obviously the two main characters, so they have their dynamic. Him and Owen are totally different, him and Yanto are totally different, him and Tosh are totally different, and I like seeing how Jack adapts with these different people. And I like seeing how Jack, like I was sort of alluding to before, almost takes the Doctor role in Torchwood. However, because this is set in 21st century Cardiff and they don't really travel too much, I mean there's a few episodes here and there, but it's not like Doctor Who in the sense of each week the Torchwood team go to a different place. I love some of the themes that Torchwood explores as well. I think some episodes are beautifully done. Episodes like Out of Time, I think it's called in the first series, is a brilliant episode. There's no threat, there's no aliens involved in that episode whatsoever, but it is absolutely fantastic. If you're someone who is used to Doctor Who, You're not really going to get too many connections to Doctor Who overall. I think apart from Jack, Martha popping up in the second series for a bit, the Cyberwoman obviously with the link to Doctor Who and the Cybermen, references to the Doctor every now and again, vote sacks and posters. Apart from that, which, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Apart from that, there isn't really too many things that connected to Doctor Who. So if you're not really interested in Doctor Who, then you can still watch this show with a fair amount of enjoyment because it stands up by itself. It doesn't need to rely on, or it doesn't have a Doctor Who crutch underneath it that's keeping it afloat. There are themes in this, like I say, that Doctor Who should never, in my opinion, go into. I think some of the violent aspects, I think with the Cyberwoman episode isn't great, but I like how it shows you a darker edge to the Cybermen, an edge that I personally love, but I accept that you can't really show that as explicit in Doctor Who. I think Torchwood definitely does it well. When you see like the aftermath of a botched conversion, you would never see that in Doctor Who, or at least to the gore level that Torchwood did it. I mean, in the first episode when you see like a weevil rip out this guy's throat, probably never see that in Doctor Who either. But there's aspects to characters in this that, again, you don't really get that sort of development in Doctor Who for the companions. I know in the new series, in the modern era, they do get more development, but with this, because it's Jack and a small group of people over the course of a series where it's just really them, you get to learn more about them and their personalities, and you see them grow. So Gwen, when she first starts off, is totally different to the Gwen in Miracle Day. And a character like Owen, for example, the character journey that he goes on, particularly in series 2, I found was really quite compelling in places. And Owen starts off as a character that I don't particularly like, but in series 2 he's one of my favourite characters. And Captain Jack is supposed to be the constant in this. He's the character that you are aware of, you do know him, but you learn more about Jack as a character throughout the entire series, and there are aspects of Jack's character that you flat out fucking hate. Jack has got a past that he himself is not proud of, and he would be the first to admit that, but seeing it unfold on screen, I have to mention Children of Earth, because obviously mentioning things that Jack does that are a bit off, Children of Earth is definitely one of them. Again, I want these videos to inspire people or encourage people to actually go out and watch these shows, so I'm not really going to talk about what Jack actually does. Children of Earth, like I say, is arguably the greatest thing in the post-2005 era. It's 5 episodes long, and I remember when it came out, it was weekly from Monday to Friday. Every single night there would be a brand new episode. I was hooked. It was properly like event television, where if you didn't sit down and watch it, fucking hell, what are you doing? Every single episode just adds something new, and new layers, new twists and turns, new revelations, and there's a great insight into what I personally believe, if a similar situation happened in real life, probably that's what the government would do. I love seeing things like that. And also, it's got Peter Capaldi in it, which I'm always going to admire because I fucking love the guy. In fact, Peter Capaldi is phenomenal in Children of Earth. He is genuinely incredible. His story arc throughout the entire thing is so tragic and heartbreaking. It's incredibly dark as well. Like, really dark, incredibly grim. And there's a moment in it where Gwen is sort of filming herself and she's saying like, this is what the human race really is. I wonder what the Doctor would think if he could see us now, or something like that. And you have to think to yourself, where was the Doctor in all of this? That's the frustrating thing with a show like this, or the Sarah Jane Adventures, is the fact that you do kind of wonder where the Doctor is during some of these emergencies, but at the same time, he can't really be there because he's got to go and do his own thing when these things are happening. I mean, obviously he does show up in the Sarah Jane Adventures, but in Torchwood, I don't think the tone would suit the Doctor appearing the same way that the Doctor, in my opinion, shouldn't have appeared in Class, because the tone just does not fit with Doctor Who. I mean, for Children of Earth alone, this show is worth watching, genuinely is, but you have to watch the first 2 series to fully appreciate Children of Earth, I would say. I think there's too many things in Children of Earth, well maybe not too many things, but there are a couple of things where I don't think you can appreciate them as much if you hadn't seen the previous 2 series, because it establishes the characters a hell of a lot more, and you understand where they're at by the time of Children of Earth. I think some of the episodes haven't necessarily aged well in terms of effects and stuff like that, but it's still a bloody good show. I think it's a show that's better than it probably should have been, which is saying something. I think it is definitely a welcome addition to the Whoniverse. I love seeing more exploration for Jack. I love these new characters and the relationships and the trials and tribulations that they go through. I like some of the villains and the aliens that you see, such as the Weevils. I think they were fantastic. There's some genuinely moving and heartbreaking episodes throughout the entire series. Out of Time is one of them. Countryside is a fantastic episode. It's not really heartbreaking, but it's bloody good. Fragments I thought was a really good one. The stuff with Jack and his brother, that stuff's great. If you haven't, just check it out. I know a lot of you probably watching this will have done if you subscribe to my channel, but if you haven't, go and do it. But in the comments below though guys, let me know what you think of Torchwood. Love it, hate it, whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always. So if you would follow me on any of those things, I would absolutely love you forever. But till next time guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.